In the truck or the show?
All right, we're going to meet in order. The prayer, Alderman Ashby, please.
Heavenly Father, we just come to you tonight, Lord. We thank you for this gracious day that you've given us, Lord. We just ask you for your presence to guide us, direct us through this meeting, Lord, and that we would make decisions in Crowley based upon your needs and not our needs. We love you, we thank you, and we ask these things in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance, Alderman Wildridge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Mr. Clerk.
Chuck Ashby,
Present.
Katie Shessel.
Here.
Brad Cord,
Here.
Jeff Durray,
Here.
Dickie Lashley,
Here.
Vernon Martin, Sandy Marks,
Present.
Sammy Reddy. Here. Byron Wildridge.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Martin did call and apologize that he was not going to be able to be here again this evening. He's still suffering with his back. So. Appearances, agenda amendments. We need to amend the agenda. I forgot to put it on for public buildings to co-sponsor with One Crowley. They want to use the depot down on North Parkinson for a farmer's market. There's 3 dates. They're going to do it in the spring, not throughout. It's just once a month for 3 months in the spring, and they're not going to do it during the summer. So they have a representation here. So we'll amend the agenda to reflect that in public buildings.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Can I give you the dates?
When it comes up in public buildings.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Approval of the minutes from January meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Ashby, second by Alderman Wildridge. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mayor's report, you'll see the sales tax chart. I will warn you that the February and March amounts are not complete. Sorry, the February, there's no March. The February amount for the sales tax chart is not complete. That's the only, we didn't get the second half report in yet from the school board. So that 353,083 is not a final number. So don't get scared, yes. User fee chart. That also is, so the March, we only have one check-in so far, but those numbers will be updated as we get them in. But in February, showing an increase. Good there. In my mayor's report, normally we would do the financial report, and that report I have been unable to give to you all. I invited the city CPA this evening to give us some explanation of what she is doing. And Ms. Christy Dunn, if you want to come up, she will be happy to explain to us what her job is going on at the time. Just push the button to turn it on.
Okay, so hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Christy Dunn. I'm a CPA with Wrightmore, DeHart, Dupuy, and Hutchinson. I'm Lafayette. I was raised in Crowley, graduated from Crowley High, but I practice in Lafayette now. So it's always been my hometown, and it's fun to be back for a few days at least, or weeks. So I just wanted to give y'all a heads up on where we stand right now. I've been here for about a month, and I'm currently working with your audit firm for your August 31st, 2022 audit. When I arrived, they were having some issues with reconciling accounts, et cetera, and so I've been working with them. Right now, the audit is on hold until those areas get straightened out. So that's the status of last year's audit. This year's financials, I'm just going to say right now, the reason you're not getting them is because they won't be correct. The auditors have made over 160 journal entries to your financial statements. So those numbers are going to need to be adjusted and then reflected into the current year. So if you got any numbers, they wouldn't be valid or a good way to make a decision for the town, or for the city. So we're gonna work on getting those current. We're gonna fix some things that need to be done as of now going forward so we can stop having these errors. And then we're gonna just start working with your staff and figuring out the best way to get current. And at that point, my goal will be to have the financial statements to you, like your March meeting, you would have January's financial statements. So you'll run about 30 days behind because there's no way that you can have February finished. You can see the numbers on final. Anyway, that was pretty much what I wanted to say. You can ask me some questions if you have any. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to answer them just yet. We're still just trying to get our feet wet on software and what y'all are doing and what the hiccups are.
Any questions? Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate you. Doug, we have a question. You can come up.
So after a month, we're still getting our feet wet?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Why so much problem?
As she just explained, the record keeping is sort of a mess, not sort of a mess, it's an extreme mess. The auditors have taken a step back from auditing last budget's finances because we cannot provide them the information that they need to complete the audit. And so that's where Chrissy comes in, helping us to catch up on things. And I explained this in previous meetings, there's many of accounts that have not been reconciled since February of last year. And lots of journal entries, as Chrissy just mentioned, the auditors are at 160 something journal entries to try and catch up with some of that stuff to reconcile some of those records. Understand that this is the previous budget, this is last year's budget, but if we can't get good numbers from last year's budget and the audit, then we can't depend on the numbers that were given to us as of September 1 to move forward and give you factual numbers as of today.
But last year's audit was fine. What happened?
No, sir. Last year's audit is ongoing, but now is on hold.
No, I mean, the last audit that was approved.
That was 2 years ago, yes.
Yeah, what happened between, it's the same software, right? Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
We changed software.
And I can allude to this. So you have, first off, you're talking about the August 31st, 2021 audit. That audit actually was not issued timely. Y'all got an extension, so it was issued after the deadline. If I remember correctly, I questioned today, the auditor said they had over 100 journal entries last year. So you're dealing with significantly more, but you also had significant turnover. You've been through 3, 4, or 5 clerks.
6.
You've had 6. You've had windows where nobody was here. So no work is getting done, other than your day-to-day operations are working fine. Your cash collections are coming in, the people responsible for that are doing it, your bills are getting paid. It's that overall accounting, making sure of, that's what's not done. No, your staff is doing their jobs. You know, it's that turnover at that high level.
What's the normal amount of journal entries for a city our size?
0. If it's done right.
Okay, I thought so.
Go ahead, Brad.
If it's done monthly, you recognize.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you.
Typically, the audit would be due by February 28th
Correct,
of each calendar year.
correct.
And so I'm assuming we have an extension.
You guys have requested an extension. You requested from the legislative auditor, but they have to go before the advisory committee to get it blessed or approved. That won't happen. Y'all may get a response in 60 days or more. They don't meet as often as we think.
And what type of extension is available from the
I think the
legislative?
request was a 90-day extension.
Okay, because I'm looking forward as far as the next year's budget that we will have to be working on soon. And so there's a lot of issues that need to be resolved.
There will be no working on the budget right now, other than from the expense. Y'all can look at the expenses. This is more in the balance sheet accounts. that we're trying
The
to
software that the city has, during the last administration, there was a new software program, we thought we'd have all access and looked in, but is that software working now? I know there were problems.
Not functioning completely, no. It is not. They've had some glitches, they've had some issues with even getting numbers out of the system. I'm working okay in it right now, but I'm doing very, very high level work, just researching things.
Do you think another software program will be needed?
That has been asked. I sat in on a meeting with a new software provider recently, and I just got a contact today. The software provider works with Denham Springs and a lot of small municipalities, but I felt like if we're going to make sure that they are good for the city, then we need to call the largest client that they use, and that's the city of Denham Springs. So I got that this afternoon, and I'll reach out to them in the next few days or so. The next time I'm here, I think Glenn and I will call, because he's gonna have more questions than I will on how to use this software.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, standing committee reports. Public Works, Alderman Jeff Drury.
Thank you very much. Look at Oh, well,
That's probably why yours isn't working. Jeff, that's probably why yours isn't working. Chuck, that's probably why his isn't working. None of those will work. if that's-
Okay, you just have to listen, I'll have to talk.
That's gotta be plugged in for the rest of it. Now try yours. Yeah, try yours now.
Mine, the button itself is like something happened. It's like it fell apart.
Oh.
Somebody did something. Okay, all right. Public Works Committee convened Wednesday, March 1st, 2023, 4 p.m. in the council chambers, and a quorum was present. And the action items, motion was offered by Alderman Byron Wildridge, and seconded by Sandy Marks to approve partial payment estimate number 15 to Glenn Leger Construction LLC for the citywide street improvement contract A project for an amount to be presented at the council tonight, March the 8th, 2023.
That would be me.
That's you.
Okay, the amount of partial payment estimate number 15 is $609,773.99. It's 609,773.99.
We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion, we have a motion and second.
Motion by Mr. Byron, second by Chuck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
A motion was offered by Alderwoman Sandy Marks and seconded by Alderman Byron Wildridge to approve partial payment estimate number 10 to Glenn Leger Construction Company LLC contract for citywide street improvements, contract B. Project amount to be presented tonight, March the 8th, 2023.
The amount of partial payment estimate number 10, for contract B, is $298,929.58. That's $298,929.58.
No motion.
Second.
Offered by Alderman Dorey, second by Alderwoman Marks. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Is there something that didn't go to committee, Mr. Tim?
The next two items, 3 and 4.
Okay, I'm trying to find them. Oh, right here. Okay, 3 and 4, to approve contract change order number 4 to Glen Leger Construction Company LLC, 2021 citywide street improvement. Why does it say 2021?
That's when it all started.
It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
Citywide street improvement contract A, to add pay item at lump sum price for Pine Street Bridge approach slab improvements at a cost of $10,991.02. Need a motion?
Second.
Offered by Katie, second by Chuck. All in, discussion? Brad?
Tim, can you give us an explanation of what exactly is going to be done there?
Yes, sir. Our plans originally anticipated further deterioration of the approaches, so we didn't want to come up with a detail. It was 2 years ago when we actually prepared the plans and went to bid. So it was our decision to wait until we run the construction, then go and look, possibly have to do some exploratory excavation to see why the approach slabs might have caused a big bump that's there on both the north and the south ends. So we recently did that because the contractor is about to go and overlay Pine Street. And what we found was that the approach slabs are in fairly good condition. We don't think there's any reason to spend money replacing them, because that bridge probably needs to be replaced in the next 5 or 10 years due to its condition of its pilings, its timber piles, etc. So hopefully it'll go longer than 5 or 10 years, because it's not inexpensive to remove and replace a bridge like that. But what we intend to do there is actually, the cost that's associated with this $10,991, again, it's both sides, so each side is on the order of about $5,000 to do what we're going to do. We're going to get the contractor to grind the concrete where the approach slab abuts the first span, to create a thickness that we can come in with asphalt, tie in at 2 inches. It'll sit on top of the approach slab, which is already 10 inches thick. So the approach slab will go down to 8 inches, but we'll put back 2 inches of asphalt. So the structure of the approach slab will not be violated at all. Then there's, on the north end, there is a failure of the asphalt that we're going to dig out and patch that. Basically, just cover everything back probably 20 feet or so to make a smoother approach on the north and on the south end.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
To approve contract change order number 2 to Glen Leger Construction LLC 2021 citywide street improvement contract B, to alter the construction plans to add approximately 37,000 square yards of milling of curb and gutter streets at the current contract price of $2.75 per square yard, for an estimated additional cost of $101,750.
A motion?
So moved.
All, offered by Alderwoman Marks, second. Doreen, would you?
I'll second it.
Okay. Second by Alderman Dorey. Discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Tim, could you give us an explanation on what this is? And this is contract B, which will be on the west side of Crowley? What area?
Yes, contract B is west of Parkinson and
Yes.
north of BNSF, basically.
Right, because we have curb and gutter streets on, I think, on the contract A, the historic district.
We do, those are different because those streets sit on old concrete, whereas these subdivisions, it's asphalt or a salt cement base. With a curb and gutter that's integral to itself. In the historic district, you have old concrete streets and a curb and gutter is part of the street itself. That's the difference.
Okay, so you couldn't do the same type of work in the historic district as you're doing, proposing to do here.
That's correct. What we did was, in order to keep the price down for the contract, and also because there's a structural value to the existing asphalt surface. So in these subdivisions, the existing asphalt surface was flush with the gutter. We wanted to come in and put 1.5 inches on top of that surface, which would be 1.5 inches edge.
Correct.
I know some people don't like it because it might make for a little bit different drive in the driveways, but it is common practice to do that. And in doing that, we would save the cost, which is the $101,750 of milling. We would take advantage of the structural value that's there with the existing asphalt. But we understand now that there are people that have contacted council, contacted the mayor, and would prefer that we have the surface finished flush like it is now. So the milling removes the 1.5 inches, and we put back 1.5 inches.
And that will be flush with the gutter.
Yes.
And allow basically the asphalt to be abutting the concrete curb instead of on top of it. I think it would be more stabilized by something, the asphalt being abutting concrete edge.
Yeah, it will, when all is done, it will be the way it is now. It will be a flush asphalt surface with the edge of the gutter.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
That's the right way to do it.
I make a motion to approve.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and under non-action items, Public Works Director Albert John delivered the monthly Public Works report. Street Commissioner Gilbert Onosine was absent, and the report was given by Mayor Chad Monso. City Engineer Tim Mader presented the monthly engineer's report, and Alderman Jeff Dory asked about the resurfacing of the street in his area that have not been complete yet. Mr. Mader informed him that they will be done soon. The estimated completion date is April the 26th of 2023. And with no other items, I recess.
Okay, I do have a speaker card about road construction taking place. Reverend Dennis Smith, if you want to come up. Push the button to turn it on. There you go.
Good evening. I just had a question in regards to the road construction with Glenn Leger. Are they coming after or during the process of overlaying the roads? Because in the process of overlaying the road, they're pushing heels over, to push, I guess, some of the gravel and the dirt off the road. That's leaving a heel in front of my fellowship hall at my church, and also in the front of my fellowship hall face South Avenue I, and my church face Elm Street, and they also cover up, I think, 2 of the drains in front of the property. Do I get the city, call the city to have them to come and get those drains open back up, or Lazy Construction responsible for doing that?
What is the address? And we'll check on the drains
It's,
immediately because of, drainage issues. But I'll tell you that the process of getting rid of those hills on each side will happen before the end of this contract. It takes about a month for that part of the crew to go back after the road construction and start cleaning up along the side of the road. It's a different set of employees, different skill levels and all of that good stuff. So, that crew does come back afterwards. I expressed to someone the other day, I assure you that, they will not get their final check if there's any of those locations like that.
And my
Because I have to sign that check, so.
concern is it's a trip hazard, like on the South Avenue I side. It's a walkway that goes into the fellowship hall.
Yes, sir.
And it's a hump before you go, so it could be
What's the address of that?
it's 325 East Elm Street. 325 is right on the corner.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I know exactly what you're talking about, yes, sir. We'll get it checked out tomorrow and try and help you out with it.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay. Okay. Utility. Alderman, Alderwoman Sandy Marks, yes, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The Utility Committee convened Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chambers. A quorum was present. On the action items, a motion was offered by Alderman Jeff Dorey and seconded by Alderwoman Sandy Marks to approve partial payment estimate number 1 to Tulier Services LLC for the commuter replacement at the main pump station in the amount of $156,816.90. The motion carried.
We need a motion. You want
I'll make the motion.
to, okay. So moved by Alderwoman Marks, second by Alderman Ashby. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
A motion was offered by Alderman Jeff Dorey and seconded by Alderwoman Sandy Marks to adopt the annual MWPP resolution required under the city's wastewater treatment plant discharge permit. Motion carried. I make a motion to accept this.
Okay. Offered by Alderwoman Marks, second by Alderman Wilridge. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
A motion was offered by Alderman Jeff Dorey and seconded by Alderwoman Sandy Marks to approve partial payment estimate number 8 to NCMC LLC for the rehabilitation of the sewage collection system project in the amount of $228,385 and 58 cents. The motion carried. I make a motion.
Offered by Alderwoman Marks, second by Alderman Core. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
A motion was offered by Alderman Chuck Ashby and seconded by Alderman Jeff Dorey to approve change order number 1 for the NCMC LLC construction contract for the rehabilitation of the sewage collection system project to grant a time extension and add pay items for the required work not included in the original contract for the amount of $26,813.42 contingent upon the LCDBG approval paid out of grant funds.
Number of days, please.
60. So that's for 60 days. 60 calendar days.
I make a motion to approve.
Moved by Alderwoman Marks, second by Alderman Core. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
There were non-action items. Wastewater Superintendent Tim Crater presented his monthly wastewater report. Also, City Engineer Tim Mader presented the monthly engineer's report. There was no further business to come before the committee, and the committee recessed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Can I take this opportunity to remind everybody about the in-service tomorrow at the wastewater plant? We
Absolutely,
have lunch, yes.
absolutely.
We're giving a tour of the wastewater facility tomorrow. I think everybody's supposed to arrive at noon.
About 11 o'clock, yeah,
Is it 11?
yeah, 11.
We're gonna, with the help of Tim Crater mostly, give you a complete tour of the facility so you can see the various components that impart treatment to wastewater, and lunch will be served. Please try to make it. I
Yes.
think you'll find it very, very informative and useful information for the future.
It'll be extremely interesting to learn that process over there. To say the least, interesting. All right, Recreation Committee, Alderman Chuck Ashby.
The Recreation Committee meeting convened on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chambers. A quorum was present. There were no action items. Non-action items, Recreation Director Peter Kirsch presented the monthly Recreation Department report. City Engineer Tim Mader presented the monthly engineer's report. There were no further business to come before the Recreation Committee, and the Recreation Committee recessed.
Thank you, sir. Zoning and Annexation, Alderman Samuel Reggie.
Thank you. Zoning and Annexation Committee convened Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chambers. A quorum was present. Under action items, there were none. Under non-action items, City Engineer Tim Mader presented the monthly engineer's report, and there was no further business to come before Zoning and Annexation Committee, and the committee recessed.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Alderman Brad Core.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Safety Committee convened Wednesday, March 1st, 2023, 4 p.m. in the council chambers, and the quorum was present. On the action items, a motion was made by Alderman Chuck Ashby and seconded by Alderman Dickie Lachelle to amend the agenda to change items to action items. The motion carried. A motion was made by Alderman Byron Wildridge and seconded by Alderman Chuck Ashby to approve the beer and liquor license for Fat Boys Grocery and Liquor Store. Mayor Mock minutes said motion carried, however, the motion failed for lack of a majority vote.
Okay.
Next, the motion was made by myself and seconded by Alderman Jeff Dorey to have a public hearing on increasing fines on police-issued tickets as provided in the attached documents. The motion carried, and I so move.
Second.
All right, so number one requires a motion from someone if y'all want to vote on that. Because there's no recommendation from the committee, it requires a motion from someone if you want to vote on that liquor license for Fat Boys.
That'll be item number 2, and you said the first item.
I'm sorry.
I made that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, that's the minutes, yeah, that's the minutes from the council meeting, the committee meetings.
Yes,
The agenda is number one.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Yes.
You're correct. Right. So you want to wrap up with number 3 online and then go back to this?
We need to go through on the agenda
Okay,
for the meeting, and number one is to approve the beer and liquor permit for Fat Boys Grocery and Liquor Store.
okay, sure.
And then it should be at the end, it should give you the readings for all of the stuff, correct?
Yes, it's got the other for the fines and so forth.
Yes, and that's number 2 actually,
Correct.
on the agenda, yes. So go ahead and read number 1 on the agenda.
Okay, to approve the beer and liquor permit for Fat Boys Grocery and Liquor Store.
I made that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Wildridge,
I'll second.
second by Alderman Ashby. Any discussion? All in
Could
favor?
we hear from,
Yes, ma'am.
could we hear from the chief of police?
Sure can. You have a question for him? or-
Yes, could you explain what the cooperative agreement between, if there is one, between you and the owners as to offering a viable remedy of safety at Fat Boys, what was discussed?
We had briefly discussed it in my office, there's no actual written agreement that we came up with. In fact, that decision is totally made upon the board. I expressed to him some concerns that we had at the police department as far as for the problems that was going on and some possible solutions to that problem. And one of them was that, if we can help monitor the parking lot, the hanging out and stuff, that would possibly help. And times have changed and pretty much affordable now. You've seen cameras come up in different places where you can actually access other camera systems remotely. Like if you had a camera system at your house and you wanted the police to be able to access it at any time, or if you called, we can actually access the camera system and actually view what's going on. So if he had a problem out there and he called the police and we were hooked up to be able to log into his camera system, if he called, let's say he was getting robbed or something, we can immediately click on it and pull it up right there at the PD. And as we dispatch the officers, the dispatcher would actually be able to see what was going on at live. And if technology changed so much, it's no added cost to us other than a monitor inside the PD. But I've also been looking at doing things with some of the apartment complexes in the city. And they're on board too, to where they give us access to their apartment locations and stuff, to where we can actually log in and be able to view what's going on live in apartment complexes, which will also help our patrol. If we see things in the dispatch area where we're noticing large crowds building up in certain apartment complexes, we can dispatch a unit out there before a call is even made. And that's the goal, everybody's kind of moving towards that. We just figured we'd be first, and this would be a good opportunity for us to start, if he'd be willing for us to be able to tap in. Now, I hadn't viewed his camera system, or, this is actually the early talks, but, he didn't seem like he was interested in doing it, hooking the cameras up and giving us access, and look, that access could just be outside. It's not like we wanted to monitor what's going on the inside, but, it does have the capabilities of us to be able to do it, and us to be able to pull it up live at the office just by linking into his system.
So Chief, at the present time, is that camera system installed and active?
He does have a camera system installed. I didn't actually go out and look to see.
Is it installed to where you all can monitor?
No, currently, not right now. But it-
What is
something that-
currently in place as a remedy?
Nothing right now. There's nothing in place for us and them at this current.
So they were advised to make changes. What changes, if any, did they make?
Well, I don't know of any changes that will be, we had talked about the possibility if he did that, the council might look at that and see, hey, look, it's possibility that y'all might reconsider if he would do something.
So at this time, there's nothing in place.
Correct.
I rest. Thank you.
So Joe, I'd like to say something before we get beyond the camera system deal. That puts an inordinate burden on the police department, number one. Number two, it is not possible, in my view, that the city police can actually monitor that location or any location 24 hours a day from a dispatcher's point of view. You'd have to have a staff member doing that. There are already lawsuits that have been filed against cities who tried this approach, and there are already judgments against cities whose police department failed to monitor the cameras and see what's going on and send somebody out there in time to stop with such a thing. So cities have already been held liable for those kinds of events, and you're taking on a huge burden of policing every site by agreeing to this sort of thing. And I don't believe the chief has the ability, number one, financially in his budget, nor the ability to vote patrols to monitor those types of parking lots constantly. That is up to the owner of the property. It is the burden of the owner of the property under the state law and city ordinance to monitor and control their property. If they don't do that, the remedy is you deny them a permit at the end of the year, or during the year, you call a hearing and you revoke that permit. This particular property, I'll say, and property owner was granted a license in 2022 after having been denied in 2021 the new application because of numerous violations. 2 months later, I think, or a month later, they came back and said that they had put up signs that they would do better, they would monitor, they would call the police immediately if they had any sort of problems, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, Mr. Ford's report, I think, detailed last month a number of violations that the police were called out for in respect to this particular location, which was inordinately larger than any other location in the city of Crowley, by large numbers. I appreciate Mr. Ford, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Reagan, I've got the complaint list, if anybody wants to see it, there, which is inordinately more and more serious violations than the other similar.
And that was last year, 2022, is that correct?
Yes.
This is after the signs were up.
And I'd also like to add, over the last 2 months, when this establishment did not have a beer and liquor license, there have been 0 calls for service and 0 complaints according to the police report for January 1 through February 27th.
So absent anything that's absolutely changed, you don't have any evidence that right now, it is your prerogative, however, to grant them a license. Right? The police department will be faced with having to go out there. Whether or not they have access or not is not the issue. They can certainly have access on their computer, but I recommend it not be a monitoring agreement.
Correct.
We will not monitor that. They will need to call a complaint in, or if somebody calls a complaint in, then you can go to the monitor and see what's going on and have real-time information to provide to your patrol units as they approach that scene, which increases the safety factor for the officers. That would be great for us to have this kind of information available to the police department on the way to the service that call, to respond, not though to agree to monitor them on their behalf. That is something I absolutely would not recommend that you get into, because you're providing a service that every other business owner is going to want. So you have a camera system up there, so you have hundreds of videos going 24 hours a day, and you'll need a monitoring crew just to watch all those videos. So the law does not put that burden on city government or any state officials. It is the responsibility of the holder of the permit and the property owner. I recommend that be taken into consideration in your deliberations.
Thank you, Tom.
Troy, I got a question for you. Sandy had asked about whether they had made any progress on things that was laid out for them to change. You're not saying that they didn't make the changes, you're just saying that nothing has been agreed upon between them and the police department.
Right.
So we don't know if they've made any of the actions completed.
Right, and like Mr. Reagan had said, we couldn't agree to actually monitor it live for them because of the liability issue. Could we turn it on and actually look at it live? Yes. But actually coming into agreement saying we're gonna pull, security and help watch your parking lot, no. But at the same time, would we be able to do it? Yes. Just couldn't, guarantee it or have an actual agreement where we would pay for security or nothing like that to sit there and watch the property, but it would give us the capability to log in and would definitely help the situation.
Yeah, I think there's a misunderstanding between monitoring and having access to. I think the agreement or the opinion of council members previously were that the police department have access to, not necessarily live feed to be able to view the live feed on a 24-hour basis. You know, an example, if they get a call there and they have to access the camera system to be able to get some evidence on something that happened, then because the store doesn't have, just because they have cameras, doesn't mean that they have to give the police access to it. They can have 1 million cameras surrounding their business and have an incident, and the police show up and say, "Can we see your cameras?" And they can say no, because unless the police get a warrant for it. So I think we're misunderstanding the agreement, or the understanding is that they agree to allow the police to have access to their camera system, not as a monitoring system, but to have access to it in the event they ever need access to it.
And Mayor, you know, one of the issues has been is that this establishment is not calling in complaints to the police department. And it appears that they're intending to have the police department monitor their parking lot to take the burden off of them.
And I think it's important they understand that that is not what's going to happen in the event they get their license. The understanding needs to be that they need to police their parking lot, and in the event they need help to get rid of unruly customers or people who are loitering that don't listen to them, and when they say that they need to go, then they need to know that then it's time to call the police department and say, these people need to go, or bring them to jail, or whatever you want to do with them, and stop allowing that to happen in their parking lot.
And I can tell you, Mayor, that has been conveyed to this owner over the last 2 years since I've been on the council, and it's fallen on deaf ears.
Sure. Okay.
Byron.
Mr. Byron? Yes, sir.
And I agree with everything y'all saying. And I agree with what you just said, Mayor, just having access to the cameras. I understand, I know for a fact that they put all the lighting up. They got security guards that they pay for police department to secure on Fridays and Saturday nights. I know for a fact that they call the cops, and the cops say they're not coming no more. So that's a two-way street y'all trying to play. Because I was there for 4 hours and the cop cares about Fat Boys at all. So don't put it all on Fat Boys.
Mr. Bilgeridge, when I look at the other similar businesses that don't have the same problem.
We talking about Fat Boys.
Yes,
And I was
sir.
there just like you was out there.
Yes, sir.
All right, any more discussion? We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Can you restate the motion?
The motion is to approve the beer and liquor permit for Fat Boys Grocery and Liquor Store. Alderman Chesson.
Yes,
Alderman.
and forgive me if we answered this question previously. So a license is granted across the board, so there can be no stipulations to the license, is that correct?
That is correct. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Alderman Ashley.
Troy, last question for you. You're on the hot box. So, I know you haven't been in office in your spot very long, but would you say that this is the only establishment that y'all get this many calls to?
No, I wouldn't. We tend to have a little build up around certain businesses that do sell liquor. Whether or not it's them going in the store, waiting for food to be ready, or what have you, as we run into, we had some incidents where there was some denial on some other licenses too, with the build up in the parking lots. And it has been a burden on the police to go there and do it, especially when we're shorthanded the way we are. And if we ever become fully staffed, which I hope happens soon, we would be able to take on issues like this. You know, when you working so short-staffed the way we are, the officers are running from call to call. Sometimes they just don't have time to patrol certain areas like we should. And, you know, I definitely don't say what he said is untrue. And in fact, what he's saying is probably the truth. They might have not seen an officer there for the 4 hours. When you're only 2 and 3 officers on the road, what are you expecting us to pass on every street with 2 and 3 officers? It's just not going to happen. Not when they're answering calls. It's impossible. And it goes to show you the problem when you have a short-staffed police department. It's stuff like this that is the effects of it. And it's just not with liquor, it's with everything. It's a big burden on our office. And we're trying to come up with solutions when we're avoiding the real problem, is the shortness of officers.
I appreciate that answer, and I guess the only thing that I have to say on that is I am pro-business. I mean, if it's a good business, I want it in Crowley. Unfortunately, I know it doesn't fall on your responsibility to take care of, address their situation, but on their side, it's also not their fault that we're short-staffed on our police department. So that goes both ways as well. I know we're in a bad situation. We just want to make sure we make the right decision for a store who probably won't make it if this isn't granted, so.
And that's why I try to do everything I can. You know, I know these stores are struggling, you know, the city's struggling as a whole with financials and stuff, and, you know, so we're trying to make it work the best we can. It's kind of getting through these tough months, and they are tough in every aspect of this city. I mean, the mayor's been faced with a huge burden to have to overcome, as well as the police department. So I want to do everything we can to make it work, you know, with our citizens, with our business owners, anything that we can do that may help. Of course, I want to try to do it before we have to shut down business and stuff.
I'd also like to respond to Alderman Chubb. I visited with several businesses around Fat Boys to ask them how their businesses have been impacted because of the behavior, the activity that's very near them. And the consensus was, while they are pro-business themselves, they had a negative impact in how they have to conduct their business, either coming into their facility or leaving. They have to make sure that they are secure when they're in and out of their business. One business, I witnessed bullet holes in the window. And that was, you know, I let them tell the story because they experience it every day.
I think, and I'll tell you that this is something that we all want to work on and see happen. But, you know, this neighborhood, this area around this store is no stranger to blighted property. And we've talked about blighted property for years and haven't been able to get moving on it. And I promise you we're going to get moving. We are getting moving on it. But fine example, right across the street from this store is a building that has no roof on it. It has been blighted for years. There's a building next to this store. There's houses behind this store. Most of that block has blighted property. And so we are expecting this business owner to do business in a block that this city refuses to clean up. Now, I'm not taking up for this business, but I promise you that we have to do our part also. And I know most of us are new in office and just getting started, and I have to remind myself every day that I've only been here for 2 months. But it's aggravating to me also that we can't get things moving as quickly as I want it to move. But we have to remember that our city has somewhat failed this store also because they refused to clean up that neighborhood and the properties that have been left to deteriorate in a way that they have deteriorated. And we've talked about it for years, that this blighted property attracts crime, attracts drugs, is a place to harbor criminals. And if you have actually visited this store, you know that that entire block probably has more blighted properties than not. And again, directly across the street from that store is a brick building with no roof. The entire roof has fallen in. So we might need to check on some of our duties also before we blame it all on business people.
And Mayor, with that said, about the blighted property, it's all about not complying with our ordinances. And Fat Boys has a history of that as well, not complying with our ordinances. If we're gonna look at overall blighted properties and require people to comply with ordinances for their properties, I think the same should hold true on any business establishment.
I agree. Like I said, I'm not taking up the Fat Boys or the owners of that store. I'm just saying that they're dealt a hand in a block of a neighborhood that is not going to attract anyone besides those that want to sit out in the parking lot and drink their adult beverages. And so, in my opinion, I think that they have been, their feet have been held to the fire this time, unlike any other time that they've been held to the fire. I don't know that they've ever been held to the fire this way. They've been warned last year with other establishments and then given it back, but they've never been denied that license and then given it back in a short time, correct?
Yes.
I apologize if I was wrong. But it seems as though they've been held to the fire a little differently this time. In my opinion is to allow them to make the mistake and lose their license one last time. But I don't have that vote as of yet.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Okay, with that said, I'll call for the question.
All right, question been called. All in favor of the approval of the beer and liquor license permit for Fat Boys Grocery and Liquor Store?
I'm sorry, can I speak up on something real quick? Sorry, I didn't want to.
No, there's no speaker card. What?
Okay.
What?
Well, I'm just, I have a concern myself. Mr. Martin's not here, and something's going to happen in West Crowley District. And I think it's very important that his vote.
Mr. Martin did call me before this meeting, and he also called and spoke with Mr. Core and Alderman Wilrich, who is also in that area. Yes, sir.
So his vote will show?
No, he won't have a vote tonight, but he did voice his opinion to these council members, yes.
I think his vote should show.
He is not here for
Something
it.
happened to me.
Right.
I was against the stop signs that you put up.
Ryan.
I didn't show up to that meeting.
Right, his vote cannot show if he's not here. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work that way. So, all in favor?
Can somebody table it for, Mr. Martin's not here, and if something happened in his district, we.
Mr. Ryan, I apologize, you were out of order. I let you speak. Mr. Martin's vote cannot be cast. All in favor to approve the beer and liquor permit for Fat Boys Grocery and Liquor Store? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey,
Roll call.
Chuck Ashkin,
Yes.
Katie Sheslin, Brian Core,
no.
Jeff Doré,
Yes.
Dickie Lajoie,
Yes.
Sandy Marks,
No.
Sammy Reggie,
I'll recuse myself.
that's true. Byron Wilridge,
Yes.
All right, a vote of 5-2, the motion carries. Mr. Court, number 2.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion was made by myself and seconded by Alderman Jeff Dorey to have a public hearing on increasing fines on police-issued tickets as provided in the attached documents. The motion carried, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Court, second by Alderman Dorey. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On non-action items, Chief of Police Troy Abear was absent and unable to present the monthly report. Fire Chief Louis Romero was absent and unable to present his monthly report. City Inspector Tony Newhon was not present to give the inspector's monthly report. Mayor Monsell read the report given to him by Inspector Tony Newhon. Alderman Sammy Reggie asked about the progress of hiring a person to help Inspector Tony Newhon. Mayor Chad Monsell told the council that the city is looking into hiring a third party to help the inspector. The council discussed what the city can do to curb illegal cooking by groups in public areas around the city. Mayor Monsell wants to research if there is an ordinance pertaining to food trucks or tents setting up in public parking lots to sell food. There was no further action to come before the Public Safety Committee, and the committee recessed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Public, what was that?
Did we have an answer on that?
On the food trucks, not yet. I'm getting with Tom and Mike on that. Public buildings, Alderman Wilridge.
Public Buildings Committee.
I need to. We did, yes, we had that agenda, yes, go ahead.
Public Buildings Committee convened Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chambers, and we had a quorum. Is this they're gonna be on the action item?
Yes, action items, yes.
On the action items, there was a request for the city of Crowley to co-sponsor with one Crowley to use the depot for farmers market on March the 25th, April the 15th, and May the 22nd. I so move.
Have a motion by Mr. Wilridge, second by Mr. Lachele. Discussion. Mr. Rich Hughes is here to give us the dates.
Thank you for amending the agenda so we can be heard tonight. Like Byron just said, it was the 25th of this month, 15th of April, and the 27th of May, between the hours of 3 and 6, between the hours of 10 and 3.
Thank you, sir.
And also, if I can get a little plug in, we're also having a fundraiser over at the ballroom on June 17th. It's a casino night.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Insurance in person, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Byron.
There being no further business to come before public buildings, we recess.
Thank you, sir. Insurance and personnel, Alderwoman Sandy Marks, please.
The Insurance and Personnel Committee convened Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chamber. A quorum was present. There were no action items and non-action items to come before the committee, and the committee recessed.
Thank you, ma'am. Community and Economic Development, Alderwoman Katie Shesson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community and Economic Development Committee convened Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chambers. A quorum was present. Action items. A motion was made by Sandy Marks and seconded by Sammy Reggie to bring to the full council to authorize a co-sponsorship with Crowley Main Street Art and Wine Stroll and lift the open container law during the event. Since then, that date has changed, and the date is now Saturday, May 6th. The motion carried, and I so move.
Okay, please read it from the agenda
Yes.
so that we can have that language.
To co-sponsor with Crowley Main Street Art and Wine Stroll on May 6th, changed from April 22nd, and suspend the open container law from the intersection of First Street and Parkinson Avenue to the intersection of Hutchinson Avenue at the Court Circle between Avenue F and Avenue G during the hours of the event. I so move.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Motion by Alderwoman Chasson, second by Alderman Reggie. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Non-action items. Alderwoman Katie Chalson gave updates from the Tourism Director, Crowley Main Street, Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce, the Crowley Garden Club, West Crowley Beautification, and Historic District Committee. She spoke of the upcoming Cleanest City contest. There being no further business to come before the Community and Economic Development Committee, the committee recessed.
Thank you, ma'am. Real quick, this Saturday is a youth summit at Crowley Middle School. There is a parade. What time does the parade start, Chief? I think 10:30. 10:30. So 10:30 Saturday morning, a youth summit at Crowley Middle School. Everyone obviously is invited to attend, and the parade is at 10:30. Revenue and Finance, Alderman Iggy Lachele.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Revenue and Finance Committee convened on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the council chambers. A quorum was present. We had no action items. There were no non-action items. There was no further business to come before the Revenue and Finance Committee. The committee recessed.
Thank you, sir. Ordinances. All right, so yeah, we can't bring up this ordinance now. We have to have the public hearing, which will be next month. Resolutions. And that's been done. Yes, public safety. Okay, that's it. Motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
Oh, hey.